Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to this Wednesday, August 9, 2023 regular board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Sequoia Union High School District. My name is Rich Ginn. I'm the board president presiding over this meeting. The meeting is hereby called to order. The first items on our agenda are closed session items, and this is a time when we can hear public comment about the closed session items. I understand we have one attendee and live audience want to make a public comment, and we have at least two attendees so far in the virtual audience who would like to make public comment about the closed session items. For those of you who have not made public comment before, if you're in the live audience, you will make your public comment at the podium that is to my left. And there will be a countdown timer on the screens, and you will have 3 minutes to conclude your comments. And for the people in the Zoom audience, you will see a timer and have 3 minutes for those comments as well. So I'll ask Laura Loese to help us hear our public comments.
Thank you. Ram Giuseppe. Yep. You're welcome to come to the podium.
Dear trustees, thank you for giving me some time to speak to you. I'm a parent in the Sequoia Union High School District and a member of SUHSD Students First. I've had 2 students graduate from MA. I'm proud of the history of MA in this district. But I am deeply concerned about the actions our district has taken over the last few years in eliminating 11 AS and honors courses, and that's going to be the topic of my comment. Students Heard First has heard from several board members who were similarly unaware of any discussion or vote by the former board and removal of these courses. The board has received an email with over 500 signatures from parents, students, teachers, and community members who urge you to restore these courses because we want to support high-quality public education in our community. It is a public good. It would be culturally offensive and ignorant to suggest that there are not an equally impressive number of families from the Ravenswood district who want the best opportunities for their high-achieving children as well. The quality of our local education is one of several benefits. It brings people to this community. I'm a working professional. Households like mine, and likely many families with children from the Ravenswood district, rely on quality public education to challenge our kids and help them excel. And yet, the elimination of these courses, in my opinion, sets up a precedent for the soft bigotry of low expectations. And it's unfortunate, and I'm speaking for other folks who did not feel comfortable coming in person, that only a darker skinned parent with no children left in this district feels comfortable speaking to this issue in public. Many parents of children under this board's charge do not want to be pelted with disingenuous accusations of racism or fear retaliation on their kids because they speak out to for their children and others in the community. As a group, we have some very simple questions. Why are school employees eliminating courses that directly affect our students without the knowledge of the trustees or the input of the community they represent? Why is elimination of courses for aspirational 9th and 10th grade students from both sides of 101 viewed as a solution for the achievement concerns of students from the Ravenswood district? The Ravenswood district had a 51.7% chronic absenteeism rate in 2021 to 2022 versus 30% statewide. There are many social issues that lead to this. For Emily Ballard of Everyday Labs, which has worked with Ravenswood, we can't close the achievement gap if we don't close the attendance gap. For 2021 to 2022, Ravenswood has had $29,500 per pupil, placing them above Hillview and Lawn Trotter. There are a number of initiatives.
I'm sorry. Thank you for your comment. I'm sorry, your time has elapsed. You can email the board at board@scq.org if you would like to complete your comments. Okay. Okay, next we have on Zoom, Christine Arnold.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Hello to the Board of Trustee. I don't see the timer, so I don't know if it had started yet. Okay, perfect. Sorry. So my name is Christine Arnold, and I'm a parent of two students who already graduated from MA and one rising seventh grader in the Menlo Park School District. And I have deep concerns about Menlo Atherton as a parent, not knowing that AS honors classes had been eliminated. There was no public awareness or transparency. And I really feel at this point that MA might not be a good option for my son. A lot of parents are feeling the same way in La Entrada, Hillview, and other middle schools. What was flabbergasting to me as a member of Student First is that we received an email from Trustee Dubois that said the following: Dear Student First, thank you for this letter to the Board of Trustees and other SUHDS leaders. I appreciate and agree with the questions you are asking here. As an individual board member, I do not remember the Board of Trustees approving the detracking effort. I also agree that our committee has not been involved in the conversation. I do not believe this topic was ever fully discussed at a public board meeting. When I asked Chris Thompson about this at one of our board retreats, he said the actions were taken many small steps over the last 10 years. The steps must have been so small that I missed understanding what we're doing as a governance team. Thank you for your effort to push the conversation with our community. Carrie Dubois. This is flabbergasting to me that the Board of Trustees would not have been involved in this type of very important decision impacting a lot of students. We know from a fact that in the San Francisco School District, they did a detracking initiative, and it was an undeniable failure. They embarked on this initiative in 2015 following an extensive public relations campaign based on misinterpretation and or misrepresentation of data. As of August 2023, there's an active lawsuit with attendant legal fees. This is a terrible use of our public education dollars. Schools are not a place for experimenting. We want quality education for all students. And it has not been proven that detracking, removing AS classes has been to the benefit of any students at all. Meanwhile, across the Bay, our Berkeley Nobel laureate found that an accelerated curriculum particularly benefited disadvantaged students and students of color with no negative spillover to students on the non-accelerated path. So to reiterate what Ram said, I'm curious, why are school employees eliminating courses that directly affect our students without the knowledge of the trustees or the input of us, the parents, the students, the community that they represent? So we would love to have some insight into the decision-making, clarification on what led to the elimination of the AS honors courses. And we're here to work with you. This is a community effort. We are all in this together, and we want to help meet the needs of all of our students. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Linda McGeever.
Hi, thank you. My name is Linda McGeever, and I am a parent of a recent graduate. And I would like to request that I defer my 3 minutes to Ram Duracetti to finish his comments.
Unusual first-time request. I'll see if my colleagues are okay with this. Any objections? Okay, hearing no objections, let's go for it.
Thank you.
So let me pick up where I left off. We have some very simple questions. Item number 2 is why is elimination of courses for aspirational 9th and 10th grade students from both sides of 101 viewed as a solution for the achievement concerns of students from Ravenswood? They have a high chronic absenteeism rate. They have multiple initiatives in place working with multiple nonprofit organizations and community organizations. And this even includes improved incentive-based compensation for their teachers to address these achievement gaps. It's going to take time. Per Angie Holman of the Ravenswood Classroom Partners, it's a trickle-up effect. It just seems ironic that if SUHSD is eliminating these courses just in time for these students to actually narrow that achievement gap and take advantage of them, that seems like it would be particularly tragic and unfortunate. And I would like to know, and I think we all want to know, is who generated the implausible hypothesis that an intervention after arrival on SUHSD's doorstep would help without verifying that no harm is being caused to students who want advanced courses. By the time those students arrive in our district, the horse is nowhere near the barn. They need to be helped, but the help needs to come before they get here as well as when they get here. But the burden can't be solely placed on our district, and compromising quality, higher quality advanced courses for all students doesn't achieve that goal. One narrative has been that eliminating these courses allows for more interaction between students from different backgrounds. While a laudable goal, and really the fundamental reasons I sent both of my boys to MA, there's no evidence that this social experimentation is realizing any such gains per student survey responses. Have you read them? I have. Perhaps increasing out of classroom events and opportunities for conversation would be more productive in this regard. Those who are active with Students First look forward to fulfillment of our public records request for the data and the conversations that supported the policies that have been enacted. This is not just about grades or pass rates, as it's clear from SUHSD's failed experiment, these metrics can be manipulated to fit a narrative. We are not your opponent. We are, however, going to advocate for a transparent public conversation. We look forward to working with you to analyze what data you have, help you clarify the decision-making that led to the elimination of AS honors courses, and help you meet the needs of all of our students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. That concludes public comments.
Okay, thank you, Laura. So at this time, we will recess to closed session and plan to return to open session at 6 p.m. Board meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Sequoia Union High School District. We had an initial opening of the meeting at 3 p.m., heard comments for closed session. We recessed to closed session, and we now return and are reconvening to the open session. We start with a roll call.
Student trustee Agarwal.
Here.
Student trustee Uriab.
Here.
Trustee Nori.
Here.
Trustee Koo.
Here.
Trustee Dubois. Vice President Stevenson.
Here.
President Ginn.
Here.
A quorum is present.
Thank you. The next item is approval of the agenda, and I know that we want to remove one item from the agenda, and that is item 12.4. Is that correct? Does anybody else have any proposed changes to the agenda?
It'll be 12.4 to be acted upon in a later, a future meeting. No? Yeah, at a
It's
future
removed-
meeting.
It's removed from the agenda.
Yes.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item 12.4? Thank you. Motion by Carrie Dubois,
A second.
second by Miku. Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda as amended?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, the next item is a report out on closed session. I'll report that the board took action on 5 items in closed session. On item 2023-2024-1, the board voted 5-0 in favor of approving the settlement. On item 2023-2024-2, the board voted 5 in favor and 0 opposed in favor of the settlement agreement. On item number 2023-2024-3, the board voted 5 in favor, 0 opposed to approve the settlement agreement. On item 2023-2024-4, the board voted 5 in favor and 0 opposed to approving the settlement agreement. And on item 2023-2024-5, the board voted 5 in favor and 0 opposed to approving the settlement agreement. That concludes the report out from the closed session items. The next is public comment. If we have any public comment for any items that are not on the agenda. Do we have any?
I have not received any public comment cards. I do
Okay.
not see any hands on Zoom.
Okay, we'll just give a minute. Does anyone in the Zoom audience wish to make a public comment? Okay. Seeing none, we move to item number 8, Board of Trustees correspondence. I received no particular correspondence to share. Do you have any? Okay. Quiet summer, very good. Okay, so the next item is item 9, Board of Trustees, Superintendent's comments and committee reports. So I guess we can go in order if anybody has any. Shanice has some. Does anybody else have any report? Okay, so Amy and Shanice. Okay, go ahead, Shanice.
I wanted to, first of all, welcome us back to August. I missed you all over the 40 days or 30 days we were not here. But just wanted to update you all. I think I shared at the last meeting, probably with a lot of other things, but I have been kind of chatting with the Ravenswood High School alumni group. And particularly in out of the Ravenswood area, there has been questions about how, about the experience of Ravenswood High School and the closure and healing. They've been very excited to talk about, the beauty of Ravenswood High School and what they learned, what we could learn from them. And so thanks to our superintendent, she'll be meeting with them, as well as Trustee Dubois, just to hear a little bit more about their story. So you'll hear more about that as part of, I think, an opportunity to reach out and hear from a community that we don't get to hear from all the time, and they're in their 80s meeting. So I think we got a lot to learn from our elders. And then I just wanted to note, Superintendent Leach, that I knew that 49er Academy closed, but I also heard that the Upward Bound program closed at Kenyatta as well. That was our high school. Someone told me that in the community. Did you all know that? So I'm just wondering, how do we let our board know when some of these programs are closing? Because that was mentioned to me, and I actually looked it up. It seemed like they closed in the spring of 2023, and it was the high school, I guess, a pre-college program designed for first generation college students in partnership with Sequoia Union High School District. And so I didn't know about that, and I didn't know if any of our other, it's called Upward Bound program. And it's at Kenyatta College, and it was a pre-college program for first generation students in partnership with Sequoia Union High School District, and their program serves high school students in communities at East Palo Alto and North Fair Oaks. And so I didn't know if Redwood City Together talked about it. I know that I had heard from this from another trustee somewhere else, and so I just didn't know. So I was, I know we have so many other options. So, but I just want to make sure those students were being taken care of if that was no longer going to be an option. So just thought I'd bring that up. Thank you.
Yeah, just like Trustee Stevenson said, welcome back, everyone. It's good to see everyone's faces. Hopefully everyone had a relaxing break. Just one thing to highlight, we are members of the API School Board Members Association, and they're having a mixer on Sunday, August 13th, 3 to 5 p.m. So hopefully some of you can make it. It'll be, it's in Burlingame. And so if you RSVP, they will share the exact address with you. So it's at someone's home, so they don't want it published out there. But it'll be a great chance to reconnect with school board members, and you don't have to be API to attend. It's really anyone who wants to be connected and talk about issues that relate to our API students and families. Come on by and get to meet other school board members. So just wanted to extend the invitation. Oh, you didn't get the email? Okay. Yeah, it should have been sent to the your school board email address. So I don't know. I know I got it. Did everyone, you got it too? Okay, I can forward it to you if you don't have it. Oh, okay. Sounds good. And that's it.
Okay.
Oh.
Do any other board members have comments? Go ahead, Safik.
So I have a couple of things. I'd also like to welcome everyone back. Yeah, so over the summer, I'd like to thank Assistant Superintendent Beal for his help changing the job description or the job application requirements. I think the previous prompts were kind of biased and leading into a certain type of applicant to apply. So I was glad we were able to change them to make them more inclusive, to ensure that, you know, we were attracting the best and highest quality teachers to and other employees for our district. Other two things that might be interesting to share. One of them is that the state adopted the new California math framework, and I personally had disagreements with some of the things that were in the framework, but I'd be curious to see how that might impact, you know, our math placement offerings and how the math framework kind of trickles down to our district and what specific policies we're changing. I know a lot of people in the community might have also had similar questions. And the third thing of interest that I actually came upon was the state assembly decided to pass SB 14, or the commit did pass it out of committee, which is from Senator Shannon Grove. It's related to human trafficking and increasing penalties for people convicted of human trafficking. And I think specifically child trafficking. And I know that's an issue that, you know, not a lot of people know of, but it does affect our community and our school district. So I was glad to see that that bill passed to say that we do have zero tolerance for people who engage in acts such as child trafficking.
Does any other board member have a comment? Superintendent, do you have a comment today?
We are ready. We are ready on Monday for our teachers to come back, and we are ready on Wednesday for our students to come back. So it's a very exciting time. We have been blessed by the HVAC gods that we haven't had any hot days, but of course it's supposed to get a little bit warmer next week. So just as everyone arrives back, but we are excited. Our sites are ready, and we're just ready to get this train moving for the new school year.
Excellent, thank you. Student trustees, would you like to make a comment tonight?
Hi. Hello. Okay. Hi, I'm Jacob. I'm super excited to be your student trustee for the following year. What we're trying to do right now is we're excited to get the Student Advisory Council back on track, meeting in person, and potentially growing the reach. Extremely excited and super ready.
Yep, I'm Zahara. I will be the other student trustee, and I'm so excited to be here. As Jacob said, we're mainly focused right now on growing the Student Advisory Committee, reaching out to different forms of advertisement in all of the different schools to get as many members as possible. And I'm excited for school to start next week.
I have a burning question. I can't remember what schools you guys come from. Can you remind us?
I go to Menlo Atherton.
I go to Carlmont.
That's right. Thank you. Welcome.
One of the things I've been talking to a lot of our, I guess, after school programs for high school students that serve North Fair Oaks all the way down to East Palo Alto is getting it to those programs. For some reason, the students are not getting the information. And so I think there's some other avenues through our partners. And I'm not for sure, Crystal, if you have a list, but I think it would be good to get that information. And if there's any videos or anything that they can show the students, because they have different pods, and like Boys and Girls Club has a different pod, and I think College Track has small family groups. So there are some other ways to get the information out and cultivate some leadership.
Yeah, we're definitely looking to contact a lot of individuals at every single school to ensure that as many people as possible have the opportunity to make their voice heard on the Student Advisory Committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for those student trustee comments. Next, we have comments from the Sequoia District Teachers Association.
Good evening. I'm not sure I'm quite as ready as everybody else in the room has said that they are, but I am here. And we are looking forward to our annual luncheon that we'll have on Friday, welcoming, I think, about 50 new hires into the district, and then looking forward to convocation, getting back into Carrington Hall and getting the school year off and running. And I can share as a parent how we know, like, we're getting ready to do all of this, but our counselors are already back at work and feverishly putting kids into classes and final touches on schedules. My children also start school on the 16th, and they were alerted by their school that they can get their schedules on the morning of the 16th at 8 a.m. And it is all I have heard about for the last 3 days. Then how will I know what classes my friends have? And how will I be able to plan? And it is a nightmare. So I want to take this opportunity to thank all the counselors, all the counseling, classified support, all the special ed folks who are involved in making sure that we offer our schedules to our freshmen, for the most part, at least a day in advance, so they're not freaking out. Thank you.
Okay, do we have any representative from the American Federation of State, County, and Municipal Employees wishing to make a comment tonight? Okay, next we have approval of the consent agenda. Let's read something about the consent agenda. Board action to approve the following items is taken simultaneously with one motion, which is not debatable and requires a unanimous roll call vote for passage. The action indicated on each item is deemed to have been considered in full, and action taken as worded therein. Only members of the board and the superintendent may remove items from the consent agenda. Members of the public may provide comments at the start of the consent agenda item, which may convince a board member or the superintendent to remove an item for further discussion. The motion, when we have one, will be to waive the reading of consent agenda, accept the reports, adopt the resolutions, and approve other items. Do we have anybody wishing to make a comment about the consent agenda? Okay, seeing no comment, does any board member wish to pull any item from the consent agenda?
12.7. 12.7. No, 12 points.
I'd also like to request to pull 12.23. It will come back at a different meeting.
Okay, so just as a refresher, there are 23 items on the original agenda. Item 4 was removed before approval of the agenda. Item 7 was pulled for action afterwards, I suppose, as was item 23, but your request will be that we take no action on it.
Correct.
Okay, so I'd like to have a motion to approve the consent agenda as printed in the original agenda, but removing items 4, 7, and 23. And 23. Yeah, so, yeah. Do I have a motion? Motion by Carrie Dubois. Is there a second? Second by Safik Nori. Okay, roll call vote, please.
Student trustee Urgewal,
Yes.
student trustee Yuria,
Yes.
trustee Nori,
Yes.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois,
Yes.
vice president Stevenson,
Yes.
president Ginn.
Yes,
Motion passed.
thank you. Okay, so now we act individually on the items that were pulled, beginning with item 12.7. That's topic you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure if it's a conflict, but I also know that I'm not 100% sure that this is in the best interest of a district, and I don't feel comfortable voting yes on this. But yeah, that's all I have. I'm happy to motion to approve.
What's your conflict of interest?
Well, I go there and I took a class with someone who leads the step, and I'm planning to take another class with them in the fall.
Is that a conflict of interest? No. Okay. You don't.
So he was saying that he's a student of a person involved in running the program. So he wishes to, I assume, abstain from voting on it, or,
I was gonna vote no, but
oh, okay, well, you're free to vote how you like. Does anybody have any discussion about this item? Salvi, do you have any questions of any, or anything you want to ask me?
I'll follow up on any questions offline.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve? Does anyone on the board have anything they want to say about this item? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve? Is there
Motion.
someone who'd like to approve item
Motion
12.7?
to approve, unless the students want to go first. Motion to approve.
Okay. Second. Okay, thank you. So roll call vote.
Student trustee Agawam,
Yes.
student trustee Yuryev,
Yes.
trustee Nori,
No.
trustee Ku,
Yes.
trustee Dubois, just President Stevenson,
Yes.
uh,
Not
Vice President
I'm-
Stevenson,
Right.
not yet, not yet. President Gen.
Yes,
Motion passes, 4 yeas and 1 nay.
thank you. And I understand from our superintendent that she wishes that we do not take any action on item 12.23. Okay, so that item goes unacted upon. The next item on the agenda is future agenda items. And I will say, Sophic, you mentioned something during your comments about the math framework and how the math framework might affect our district or our district's offerings or the level of preparations of the students who arrive at our district in the coming years. And I too would be interested in having that in our parking lot or in something that we consider, if that makes sense, especially if we think that it will result in some sort of meaningful change, that we talk about it whenever it makes sense to do so.
What's the topic again?
So the state of California adopted a new math framework that, as I understand it, applies a lot more to K-8 than to us, but I believe it could impact how prepared the students are that come to us. Perhaps the level of preparation will be different, and maybe that will change in some way what we'd want to offer or how we want to offer. And maybe it'll make no difference at all, but at some point, it would be interesting to know whether we think that the new math framework will have zero impact on the high school district or some impact, and if some impact, what impact? Not right away, but just as something to consider talking about when it comes.
So I hear 2 trustees. Is there a third?
I was just saying for the
trustee
parking lot.
to put it in the parking lot.
Okay,
Amy?
Yeah, I agree that be a good topic for the parking lot.
do you have thoughts about whether you'd want to hear about the new
Yeah,
math
I think I
framework?
do want to hear about it. And I think it's what we heard earlier, that is correct. It was influenced by the controversy in San Francisco. So I would like to hear.
And just for overall general information, this so-called parking lot we are referring to is also a part of future agenda items and the governance calendar. And so we are queuing up different conversations, whether they be discussion or information items, to bring back for discussion or information at a up and coming board meeting sometime this year. It'll come before then, but that's the purpose of the parking lot.
So the only thing I'd say is I think this is something that might be more timely. So I was wondering if there's any way we could do it before December, like before the end of the calendar year, or do you think, like, do you have any idea of when it might be possible?
I will check with staff on the amount of prep time, but I think that that's most likely doable.
I guess the only other question is, has there been any conversation within the district about how we might change our policies to, or if we're going to change anything, or
Not
no?
at this time.
Okay.
It probably, just my feedback, it probably would not be a policy change, but it would be more likely a practice change, something that, if anything, that the sites would have students arriving with different levels of prior experience in future years than they have in past years.
I think the discussion is a great discussion, and it's a proactive discussion. As we know, it is going to affect our feeders.
And I think it would be great to talk to our feeders about it, because that's who it impacts the most. And then how do we collaborate? I mean, you've had some successes so far on, I forgot what that committee's called, but this might be something to put there as well.
I don't know if this is like related to, but I think it might be interesting that to also look at because I think I talked with Trustee Koo about this actually before we even got elected, but talk about math placements and opportunities to advance between tracks, and how we go about placing students and encouraging them to achieve at the highest possible level. So I don't know if that can also be added, but I'd be interested in, kind of tying that to the agenda item.
I think he's referencing like different math pathways, right? Because the idea that where you go to middle school and what you're able, the opportunities you have in middle school should not impact the opportunities that you have in high school, right? There should be different pathways where people or students can get to a calculus BC if they want to, right? And it shouldn't be shut off from them just because they didn't have the same opportunities in middle school.
Okay, does anybody else have something they'd like to add about we're currently on future agenda item?
I had one question in terms of the strategic planning process. And are we going to have an update on kind of the proposed timing of that? And
There is a full calendar and recruitment for all of the individual outreach sessions is currently in design. And there are several opportunities that we will be engaging with the board. So I will share that. Maybe at the next board meeting, I can give an update of just how that process will go. And then we also are working on a mailer to our community as well, because it really will pull in our community partners. And since we cross so many different city lines, so there's a ton of outreach, but it's already moving. So we will get that update.
Okay, any other? Go ahead.
So actually, I mean, kind of tangentially related, one of the other things I got to do for the summer was one of the trustees for the Menlo Park City School District actually invited me to go check out their curriculum. This is completely new to me, but they told me there that it's required for anytime we adopt new curriculum for it to be like an examination period for people to the public to be able to come look at it if they want and examine the textbook. So I had no clue that we even did that in our district. So I don't know. I mean, this is kind of came up before too. So the other thing I'd be interested in the examination of how new curriculum or new course proposals get approved. Because one of the complaints I've heard is that it's overly bureaucratic to get courses approved, and it kind of discourages teachers who are interested in offering new courses from doing so. So that's another thing I'd be interested in, is understanding how the curriculum and course process approval happens.
With that, maybe something he could do a one-on-one with someone to learn about, or. Okay, we'll start there. What's that, Laura? Oh, okay. Okay, does anybody else have future agenda items they would like to discuss? Okay, hearing none. Well, the next item on our agenda says adjournment. We are not ready to adjourn, but we will be recessing back into closed session. So the meeting is not adjourned, but the open session portion of the meeting is concluded. Why don't we take like a 5-minute break and yes, the remaining closed session items are items about which the board will take no action, and there will be no report out from closed session.
Where's that?